Arriviamo. Vuoi dire? Um, vuoi dire due parole in inglese? Adesso introduciamo il video e poi parte la serata. Just two words, just to tell you how the evening will work. My name is Sasha Perugini. I have the pleasure and honor of being the director of Syracuse University in Florence. We will start with a showing of a video of 90 seconds, and we had to do it this way because we are live streaming. We are being shown in the States as well, and people can see this live stream. So we're now kind of all over the world, literally, with cameras in several rooms in this building. Let's wait a few seconds. And we are ready to start with the video. Thanks.
Prova?
Pronto?
Boh.
Okay, we can start. Thank you for coming, everyone. I want to introduce this evening. It's a very special evening for us in Syracuse in Florence, Syracuse University in Florence. I would like to say a few words.
Fabrizio, di solamente per le riprese.
Sorry.
Qui a un certo punto chiudiamo, quando sono entrati tutti chiudete pure. Vai, Lori,
A lot of media tonight. I love it. Okay.
I'm sorry about
We have
that.
a star. We have a star
sorry.
here. So I just wanted to say a few words. I hope it's not just institutional words, but I really wanted to introduce why the presentation of this book is so important for us. We are a study abroad program, the branch of an American university here in Florence. Syracuse University has started its activities in 1959, has been instituted here in 1959. Why it may seem as if presenting an event related to sports, which is considered more of a pop world in an academic environment, may seem awkward to some, but I wanted to say there are numerous reasons why I found this event particularly relevant for us. First of all, Giuseppe Rossi, Pepito Rossi, really embodies what we believe in, which is the mixing of culture. More and more people are now pertaining to several cultures, and Giuseppe was born in the States, but then ended up living in Italy and has been living recently in Florence. When he was just asked whether he feels more Italian or more American, and of course, as all of us, like I include myself in this, we don't really know how to answer that question because that's a way in which you lose your certain parts of your identity. And that's why I believe that study abroad program is very important to introduce students to other cultures. The other reasons why I believe in this kind of project is because I hope one day we will be able to offer study abroad opportunities to those who have those students who have a very rigid curriculum, for instance, students who are into sports in the States, because the curriculum there is quite rigid and they can't often go studying abroad. And one of the other reasons why I'm very proud of this event is because often students this age are associated with the idea of partying all the time, and we lose this sense of how committed and serious they can be. And I think Giuseppe Rossi can be an advocate of focusing on a career or a dedicated focus in life. So I'm particularly honored and happy to be to being part of the presentation of this book. I want to thank everyone. I want to also thank Assessore Vannucci, who's here, Assessore allo Sport. If you want to say a few words, I'm sorry, this is kind of a little awkward, but I hope we can have more opportunities to engage students in sporting activities in the future. If you just want to say hi.
Yeah, just say hi. I'm really glad to have Giuseppe Rossi, Pepito, here in Florence, because it's a good point, I think, to tell to the city that the link between Florence and the US is really, really strong. And of course, sport is one of the better way to live. It's a good part of a good lifestyle. And of course, if you want to do some partnership between the municipality and the mayor, of course, and his team, of course, and the Syracuse University or all the other American universities that are in Florence, of course, it would be absolutely a pleasure. And so, welcome in Florence, welcome to Syracuse University, and welcome back, Pepito. Thank you very much.
And I would now like to introduce our professor, Simone Anselmi, professor of business and economics, who has been behind the scenes with this event starting a while ago, arranging it all. So thank you very much, Simone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sasha. Yes, this event for me is like it's sort of a dream that come true. It's a lot of time that I'm thinking that the association of Giuseppe with our school, US students, was a perfect association. Actually, I want to start with a little bit of thank you. Thank you for all the people that helped me in the organization. Here we are connected also with the US. And so this event, this 45 minutes approximately, will be also visible in the United States at our headquarters, we can call it Syracuse University in New York. I'm glad that there is a mix of generation. There is my father, my son, Giuseppe's mother. I mean, there is two cultures represented, the Italian people and our US students. We always like really to help the process of mixing them. And here, I think that the book that we will present tonight is the best occasion for doing that. I also represent the Giuseppe Rossi fan club, that when I knew that such organization was existing, I immediately signed, because I think that also I see here some young players. Giuseppe is a model also for those who are starting this career. And so not just because I'm a soccer fan of Fiorentina, but also because I believe that he could be a model for even our kids. Now I would like to tell you how the event is structured. I apologize that it will be most in English, because our students, even if they're here since 2 months, they don't speak, of course, Italian. Or you do a bit.
Not all.
Some do a little bit. So I will try to translate the most important things whenever especially when we go to talk about something that is more related with our team, Fiorentina. I will translate it more. Of course, it would be impossible to translate everything. I will try to speak slowly. I'm not so good at that, but I will try. And of course, please, if you got lost, raise the hand. If veramente volete una traduzione, fateci un cenno e noi traduciamo. The event tonight is the book of Giuseppe. I was thinking to structure it in 3 main parts, and then read some part of the book, and also ask questions to the audience. So there are 3 parts that I would like to cover, and one is the journey that the origins of this journey, the history of Giuseppe, the first move he did as a soccer player when he was also the age of my kid there, 8 years old almost, and anyway. And his father that was a coach, and his strength relationship that has. Then the second part, the key really message is really the integration between the US and the Italian culture. I think that that is the key part, and I will read some part of the book. In the book, there are a lot of interesting elements that mix these 2 cultures. My obsession is that if you take the best part from the English, the US Anglo-Saxon culture, and you mix it with the best part of the Italian culture, you obtain a good mix. Of course, organization has not to come from Italy. Are we okay? But passion, yes. Determination to reach an objective, maybe from the US. Enjoy the moment, maybe Italy. But I will try to make this mix between these 2 cultures. And then last, we will talk about, of course, something that it's about personal development. The career of Rossi, I think, was full of interesting moments. He says that he doesn't believe in sfortuna, and that is a very interesting message, how he faced all these elements that made his career not so easy, but there were elements that make his history even more rich and interesting. That would be the third part. Okay? I start with the first. Giuseppe, I wanted to start with one sentence of the book. I read it in Italian and then I translate. Se nel tuo lavoro usi tanto i piedi e le gambe, è possibile che qualcosa si rompa, prima o poi, ma è la testa che comanda. La testa è l'aspetto fondamentale, sempre. Senza testa non si trovano vie di uscita. The mind is key. You, in your career as a soccer player, can happen that somebody breaks this part of the game, but you may find a way out if you have a mind control. Now, I want to start with the education you received. Maybe his relationship with his father. For those who do not know, Giuseppe played in Fiorentina with number 49 before, and now has the number 11. Is it 22?
22.
11 is 11, 22, 33, the 3 number of the strikers of Fiorentina. Did you notice that? Quadrado is 11, Giuseppe 22, and Gomez 33. 22, there is the date of birth. 22, 7, 49 is the date of birth of your father. I remember because my wife was born 22, 7, not 49, 22, 7. I would like to start to talk about your father. You say about your father a very interesting quote that was a man that was suspended in between 2 continents. That he did a trip by boat to the States and
Yes,
was in love with a very Italian thing, soccer.
First of all, thank you guys for being here tonight. I really appreciate that. As he said, there's this book out, obviously talking about my journey starting from the U.S. and then basically ending up over here in Florence. It was a tough journey, full of sacrifices, Obviously, I grew up loving the game of soccer. I was born in New Jersey. If there's anybody out here from New Jersey.
There are some.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, where is Matt? There is a guy who played against Clifton High School.
Oh, who played?
Where
Really?
is he? That guy there.
What's your high school? Where'd you go? Chatham. All right, that's a good program. But yeah, so that's where I grew up. That's where I was born, in Jersey. And obviously, my father and my mother they came over when they were teenagers, and I grew up in an Italian household. Obviously, soccer was the main sport. There was no basketball, there was no football, no baseball. It was only about soccer. And my father basically always had that ball in front of me every single day. It was something that I loved. I started playing when I was 4 years old. And that's basically how it all happened. He was a coach, so I was always out there training with him or with his team. And the passion kept growing, until I was 12 years old, where I made a tough decision, which was to leave my home and to come play at Parma here in Italy. Obviously, my father was the one who organized everything. He was there. He was there with me the whole entire way. Unfortunately, I had to leave my mother. I had to leave my sister behind. But it was something that I wanted to do. It was a challenge. It was a challenge that I wanted to take. Me and my father, we moved out, and he was already with his luggage to go back home after a month because he thought that I couldn't take it. But I never complained. Obviously, I cried every night for the first month, but I could never tell him that because I always wanted to make him proud. So we were together for many years. Unfortunately, he passed a few years ago. And how he said, I always wear number 49, which was the year that he was born, and now I'm with 22, which is the day that he was born. Obviously, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today with all the sacrifices he made together with my mother. So we had a special bond. We have a special bond. He was my best friend. So we grew up. I basically grew up with him in the house. He was the one who was cooking for me. He was the one who was cleaning all my clothes and stuff. Who would wake me up in the morning to go to school. So yeah, he was my dude. Let's put it that way. What were we talking about?
Which makes me want to ask your mother to write a book about all of
She
this.
she has a lot of stuff to talk about too.
I would want to hear that side of the story. I'm sorry,
One day,
with
Ma,
all
one day.
respect.
One day.
I read in three words that I see that you say in a part of the book that your father left. And there are three simple words: talent, training, motivation.
Yeah, so when I was around 20 years old, I was in Spain playing at 20. He left me this little note, this post-it on the wall with all the things to do, basically, in order to continue being a very good player, to continue progressing as a player. And just like how you said, it's all about the talent. It's all about always wanting to get better. It's about ambitions. It's about studying the game. Now, you pointed out before about how it all starts up here in your head. And that's something that every professional would tell you, not only in the soccer world, but in every profession. Now, obviously, in our world, we have some minor setbacks, which are injuries. And unfortunately, in the past couple of years, I've had many. I've had many with my knee. I'm still rehabbing right now. Hopefully, in a few months, I'll be out there. But rehabbing is not only out there going and doing your gym work and trying to get back and stuff. It all starts up here from the first day that you get out of that surgery room. Because obviously, you never want to think of what could have been. Because if you start thinking about what could have been, then you're living in the past, and you're never going to be able to progress. You're never going to be able to see that next step. So that's something that
Very American.
Yeah.
To see in the future, this is one trait of to see always the future. I think as a culture, we tend to look more in the back and the past, rather than just set constantly new objectives.
Yeah, because looking in the past is just a distraction. It's a distraction, and it doesn't make you be better. It blocks you. So that's something that I always that's something that I always try to do when I'm coming back from my injuries. Is always to look at the future and always knowing that I'll be better than how I was before. And that just makes you give that extra rep in the gym. That makes you just smile every time that you're in the gym, because obviously when you're not playing with your team and you're not training with them and stuff, and you're never with them and you're always by yourself doing your things, it could be kind of depressing. But when you have those objectives that you set every day, every week, it's always good to. It always helps to basically put that smile when you go in the gym.
Another quote, still from your father. Love soccer. Look, I'm translating for the book. Look the game and analyze it. Study the game as much as possible. And you say in some part of the book that you have still this attitude to study the game, the players, the opponents. This is something that I don't think is very common in all players. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's always good to study the game. It's always good to study your profession, because you always want to be better. I'm somebody that's never content. The day I'll be content is when I retire. That's when I'll be content. That's when I'll look back and be like, wow, that's what I did. This is what I did. This is what I didn't do. So obviously, I'm here to always be better. Every training, every game possible, every rehab session now, trying to get that little extra every day. Obviously, when I'm 100% and then I'm back on the field, it's always about studying your opponent. It's always about realizing what you could do, what you can't do, what are the things to look out for and not. You always want to be one step ahead of everybody, and you're going to be one step in front of everybody if you study, if you put in the time to look and to analyze. So it's a big part of what I do to prepare myself during each game, every Sunday basically.
Sì, volevo solo tradurre in italiano, soprattutto perché magari mi ascoltino i ragazzi più giovani. Ecco, stava parlando di quanto è importante anche il talento, sì, ma anche la voglia, la determinazione, il sacrificio, lo studiare l'avversario, studiare se stesso. I remember a quote on the book also about Sir Alex Ferguson telling you about how to move on the, I don't know.
I mean, if you guys didn't know, I played 3 years at Manchester United. That's where I made my first debut when I was 17, and I stayed there till I was 20 years old. And I had Sir Alex Ferguson, who was one of the greatest managers in the history of soccer. And I remember when the author asked me, give me some stories about Manchester United, and one thing that stuck out was basically the tips he used to give me down on the soccer field, and which was always, I'm not sure if you guys follow soccer, if you guys know what's going on.
They do.
You
Some
guys
of them
do?
they play. They also Sam there.
Okay, yeah,
they
there
play
you
in
go.
the Italian the tournament. We have a tournament
really?
here amongst the U.S. university.
How many of you follow
How many
soccer?
do you follow?
Let's
How
see
many do you
that.
play?
There
Okay.
you go.
well,
Okay,
they do.
there we go. We got
Well,
a few.
look.
There you go. We got a few. So
The
who's
women
ever
are
the-
the best in the world. You know that.
Oh, no.
U.S. women, I've never played with such strong players. I played the
Yeah,
tournament
they're the
also.
best.
They are strong even.
They're the best ones. You're right. But whoever is a striker over here knows that in order to score goals, you have to have many ways to do it. And obviously, he was the one who told me to use my right foot. I'm obviously a lefty, so I'm always going to my left. But there was this one moment where he put me to the side and he just told me to keep working out your weaknesses, because it makes you just a complete player. So that's something that I did take in, and that's something that I keep doing today.
Just another quote written in the book. Giuseppe does yoga, tai chi, Pilates, and dance. So no, dance not prepared, but when you can. But tai chi, Pilates, and yoga, that's part of the training. I don't think. mind and
Yeah,
body.
it's a good mix. I mean, people sometimes don't think that those things could be important for an athlete, but um, it could surprise you guys because it's something that really helps put everything together. It's not only about who could shoot the hardest or who could tackle the hardest or shoot more three-pointers and all that stuff. It's all about it's all about the mind. It's all about disciplining your body and knowing what you need in order to stay healthy and in order to be in the right position in any given time. So these things that work out your mind, that work out your body, it's a good mix to then bring onto the field.
Okay. Sam, I know that I'm asking question. The question that I ask come also from a work I've done with the students. So we had several meetings in which we analyze what kind of question ask Giuseppe. But if you want to, I know that Sam has to leave soon, so I wanted to make sure that he and eventual other people, my students, I'm sure that are some that are there dying to ask questions to Giuseppe. We can do it now, and I don't know. Sam.
Let's go. Yes. When I was playing in England for Manchester, I saw the work ethic that Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs, how hard they went into training, what they did to prepare themselves. Now, mind you, I was 17, so this was my first experience in the pros. So just looking at them giving their hardest, even in training, it basically surprised me because it just shows you that it's not only about the game. There's a saying that I'm sure many of you know, that the way you play is the way you train is the way you play on Sunday. So, yeah, they basically lived up to that saying from day one in their career to the last time I saw them play on the pitch.
Any other question? Otherwise, we will have another round after. But if you have some other questions now?
So, my man. Well, the main reason was I had a lot of love for the game. I still have a lot of love for the game, and I always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be better than everybody, and I wanted to compete against the best. So this was an opportunity that my father presented to me, and obviously there was no pressure from him, and it was something straight from me that it was basically the decision was mine to be, let's go check it out. Let's see what I could do. And obviously it was tough. It was tough because you have your friends, you have the playgrounds. Because remember, I was 12, so I'm leaving my mom and my sister. So it was tough, but I always wanted to play. I always wanted to compete against the best, and it was the best. It was the best way to do so.
I have a question from my point of view.
Yes.
This is almost finals time, right? The students have their finals.
My student had the final today.
Okay.
My students.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
They
and the majority of them take 5 courses while here. Some of them, take even more courses. And when it comes to finals, you guys freak out, right? Because when they're here, you want to party, you want to have fun, you want to do an internship, you want to travel all over Europe, and you want to get A's, just A's. And you said you wanted to be the best all the time. They want to be the best, and they want to do it all. And I see that as maybe a little bit more of what I call the just do it culture that comes more from the States, if we can make these generalizations, which I personally don't agree with. And I think study abroad is all about destroying those generalizations. But do you have any comment on that kind of pressure? That's a lot of pressure on you guys.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
Very important.
Well, of course. I mean, to be successful in whatever aspect of life, there goes a lot of dedication, there goes a lot of sacrifice, there goes a lot of studying in your case. So, I mean, I just remember growing up. I was lucky. I was lucky to have my father by my side. Obviously, these things at this age, what is it, 18, 19 years old, you can't do these things alone. And I think it's important to have also the right support from parents, from friends, from whoever, because I'm here today thanks to them, thanks to their sacrifice. Because if they didn't sacrifice, I wouldn't have been in that position to succeed. So those factors that my father wrote on that little post-it doesn't just go for soccer players or for me. It could also go to you guys. In the book, obviously, it's all written out, and hopefully it will be out in English, so then you guys could read it. But it's all about that hard work, and it's all about that sacrifice. Sacrifice for me. I think the hardest thing. I mean the number one thing in order to be successful in everything is sacrifice, because it's hard. I mean, listen, it's very easy it could have been easy for me at 17 or 18 to go out and party, to go to Uncle Jimmy's on the corner. It could have been easy, but I showed discipline. I showed discipline because my father taught me well, and up to this day, I listen and I read that post-it, and it just puts me into check, and just to continue to get better. So there you go.
But I think that this is a key point of the book. Io vi leggo questa frase in italiano perché per me, dov'è Alessandra? Io credo che... ecco. Questa è una frase che a me ha colpito tantissimo. Ve la leggo. Mi hanno insegnato che camminare è più importante di arrivare. They taught me that walking is more important than arriving. E chi ha un sogno deve coltivarlo, proteggerlo, perché vale per quello e varrà anche se non si realizzerà. Lo dico per ipotesi, perché sono convinto che alla fine arriverò dove voglio arrivare e non cederò di un metro. Sono talmente tranquillo e preparato che l'obiettivo non può sfuggirmi. In English, I am convinced that at the end I will arrive where I want, and I will not... and I would be focused. I'm tranquillo e preparato. I'm not, it seems that you don't have, I mean, sometimes with our students, we see that there is a little bit this reaching the objective creates stress. I see when they have to do an exam, they're like, oh my God, no, relax, have fun. It's like the obsession, that is good, the determination is very American. For me, brings also a part of too much stress on. No?
It's true. It's true. But I think everybody's journey to the top is always going to have these moments. It's never a beautiful ride up. Obviously, you're gonna find bumps in the road, and it's just how you deal with those bumps. It's just how you deal with those problems. Obviously, people could give up. People could create excuses and say, I can't get over that. So that's the worst thing you could do. In my point of view, if you want to reach the top, you can never create excuses, because then you're slowly giving up on yourself if you do create those excuses, because then you start believing in them. That's something that I refuse to do, even though I'm injured, and even though I came back twice from injury, and I was doing amazing, and I was scoring many goals, and it was beautiful. And then you get knocked down again. You come back, you keep getting better, you keep doing your thing, and then boom, you're back down. So it is easy to create excuses. If you guys don't do good on your exams, you could say your professor speaks too fast or something.
They say that.
It's true.
He speaks English with a horrible accent. This is something that they said to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy.
With a very hard Italian accent.
It's so easy to create those excuses just to make yourself feel better, but you're never going to get over that bump. So, how we talked about before, about how it all starts in your head, I think that's the that's the main way to go about problems, to go about these little bumps in the road. Because if you're able to get past them, it just makes you a better person. It makes you a stronger person, more character, more personality, and then the true person comes out. And how you say that it's more important the journey than the destination. It's dead on, because I think it's beautiful, the journey. If you're able to arrive, if you're able to have this journey, which is full of experiences, which is full of great things, but also when you're up there and then you look down on your journey and you know that you got over these bumps, you'll feel satisfied, you'll feel content, you'll feel happy about yourself. So if there's any bumps, just try to get over, man. No giving up.
I am interested in your double identity. You are, Italiano, Americano nello stesso tempo. I noticed that there are some, from what I've heard tonight, that there is a lot of you of American in some attitudes towards life and your determination and the clear goals, but also something Italian. So can you tell me which side of you feel Italian, American, or if there is a balance?
Listen, that's probably like the toughest question you could ever ask me, because,
I know.
because I have no idea. I mean, I was talking before to all the journalists, saying how on the soccer field I feel Italian. Why? Because I grew up watching it.
Italian.
Yes, Italian, because I grew up watching it. I grew up watching the La Serie A. Me and my pops will wake up every morning at 9 o'clock on Sundays and watch all the games. I always wanted to play there. So, I mean, and I also grew up from 12 years old to 17 years old, which are the main years in somebody's growth to becoming somebody, to becoming a professional soccer player. I did it in Italy. So, whenever it's about soccer, it's all about the Italian way of doing it. I grew up in an Italian household, so obviously my values all come from that culture. The Friday pizzas that my mom did, those are good. The Sunday dinners all together, the family. Those things, having fish on Christmas Eve.
That's Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So
Italian
all these Italian traditions, all the values, obviously, I got them from my Italian culture. But listen, when you go to school in America, when you go back and you consider like America your home, and your sporting idols, for me, my sporting idols, which I read in the book, are Kobe Bryant and Roger Federer. Why? Why? Because they have everything. They won everything. They won every possible thing possible, but they're always hungry. They're always hungry for more and more and more, and I love that. I love people who are never content with what they do. Only at the end of their careers they could sit back and be like, this is what I did. So I have a lot of respect for them. So I also try to study them in a certain way, even though they don't play soccer. But it's more of that like mental aspect that I try to see, and that I try to learn from. And this is exactly how they did it. The way that I try to go about my career and my obviously injuries would be probably the way that these great athletes did in their career.
And if I can add one last thing, studying abroad is about blurring the boundaries of your identity so that you can figure out who you are, and then eventually feel who you are and find yourself somewhere there.
One thing I have to ask, that was one question that we were discussing with our student. Can we say that the way you kick penalty is more American? I have to talk about this. In 3 days we will be here, and I want you to go back almost a year ago, 20th of October 2013. I was almost killed at the stadium. You write in the book that you saw people crying. I have people coming up to me from 3 rows. I remember that penalty. Some student asked how hard was to kick that penalty. It was 2-0. There was the way could, turn the game. Vi ricordate il rigore in Fiorentina-Juventus del 20 ottobre 2013? La freddezza.
Eh?
Il 20
That
ottobre,
was-
yeah. Yeah, that was, I'm not sure if you guys know about it, but Juventus, which is one of the best teams in Italy right now, and Fiorentina, there's a big rivalry. The people from Florence hate them, really hate them. And the game is this Friday.
Some people are going. Some
Oh,
of
you
our
guys are
students
going.
are going there. They will be at the stadium.
That's going to be something that you guys are never going to forget, trust me. Especially if we win. Oh, I know, I wish I was there. But last year, the 20th of October, this game happened, and we haven't won against them in many years. So we were lucky. Well, in the first half, we were down 2-0, and then in the second half, it all changed. There was a penalty kick, and I'm usually the ones who take them. And they're not as easy as you think, penalties. Whoever does them, whoever takes them. It's more of like a psychological battle between you and the goalkeeper. Obviously, it's not something that you just do. It's obviously not something that you just, take for granted just because you're only like 10 feet away from goal. But it's one of the hardest things to do in soccer. But it takes a lot of calmness. Let's just put it that way. You have to try to block out everything and just pretend that you're in your backyard, taking shots. And it worked. It worked because I scored. And then we went on to win the game 4-2. Man, it was crazy. It was crazy. I see grown men crying. He was probably crying.
I was.
Um,
No, seriously. Yeah. No, for sure.
We're
I
grown men
one of the
crying.
50-year-old crying. You write in the book, 50-year-old people crying. That was me.
Oh
one
my
of them.
gosh, listen, it was something that I'll never forget. And whoever goes, there you go, my man, nice, beautiful, bella. Yes, I will after,
He
no
will.
problem.
He will be here after. They're just. He will not. We will keep him for a while, even after this ends
Yeah, no
with
problem.
us.
You guys will enjoy it on Friday. My man, there you
There's
go.
a lot of passion in this room, yeah.
That's it. I love it. Nice one. Thank you. That's a historic day. Speriamo, dai. Incrociamo le dita. Bello, bello.
Parola.
One quote of the book. I have a lot to say, but I would like to say doing my job. Florence is a city of artists, and non vedo l'ora di tornare a dipingere qualcosa sul campo. This is what Giuseppe is saying. This is a very nice quote from the book, huh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful quote from the book. Obviously, athletes are kind of like artists, obviously, because you have to create something on the field in order to be better than the other one. You have to create, in soccer, you have to create chances. You have to create the right shot in order to get past the goalkeeper. Create the right pass to your friend or to your teammate in order to get closer to the goal and try to win the game. So it's all about creating. It's all about being inventive on the field, about having an imagination on the field. And I think that's something that every soccer player does. And it goes beautifully with the city of Florence because, as we all know, Florence is the city of art and literature. So that's what we try to do, I guess, on the field. And soccer, yeah, of course. And soccer.
You were waiting to.
Aviola.
Bene.
Everything.
Cici.
Music teacher.
Quanto abbiamo? No, aspetta, allora finita. Ce lo reclamano, però volevo concludere io con la parte finale. Extra time. Moby Dick, that's the finale capitolo del libro, è il più interessante. Per chi non l'ha letto da bambini come io, se lo vado a riguardare, sono andato a riguardarlo, ma non mi ricordavo nulla. Però c'è una parte molto bella, che vorrei leggerla come conclusione, in italiano, e poi magari la tradurrò ai miei ragazzi, perché se no si rovina. Allora, la mia principessa è un po' grossa, ha il fisico da balena e si chiama Moby. Quando la troverò sarà per andare all'Europeo e al Mondiale, ma anche per vincere con la mia squadra, perché non c'è maglia della nazionale senza successi nel club. E quando mi dicono come fai a far questo, come fai a non perderti d'animo, come fai a pensare che il momento brutto non è per sempre, come fai ad avere voglia di rimetterti lì a fare centinaia di esercizi per stare in forma, mi viene da ridere. E vado per la mia strada, a modo mio, perché poi passa, qualunque cosa sia. E se hai conservato le energie giuste, arriva sempre il momento che incontri Moby Dick e sai che il viaggio ha avuto senso, anche se è durato una vita. Giuseppe. Grazie. Thank you.
The book,
Sì,
the book
book
can be purchased basically at the left of the entrance. So when you enter this villa, it will be to the left, and you can go there and buy the books. Giuseppe will be there.
Giuseppe will be there
books
signing, and then there
for
will be a
you.
moment even with a member of the fan club, because we have to give you the hats and the photo, so we will be meeting here after.
And I wanted
Ci
to...
vedremo dopo con i membri del fan club in questa stanza per i cappellini e tutte le altre cose, scusate.
Sì. And I wanted to really, really, really heartfully thank everyone who has helped organizing the live streaming, the communication, the posters. I can't
Grazie.
name everyone, but like a lot of people work behind the scenes for all of this. So my heartfelt thank you to all of you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Simone. Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you, guys.
This
Thank
has
you.
been a real pleasure and honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diego, vieni qua.